Welcome back to the Expanded Minds podcast. Today, I got a special guest with me, and his name is Alex from Playing with Fire. Alex, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. Had a long day, but yeah, thanks for inviting me on.
Of course, of course. Now, would you introduce yourself to the fine young ladies over here, as well as to the audience watching?
Yeah, I run a channel called Playing with Fire. We specialize in the finest revenge porn on the internet. So, like if you have sex with your girlfriend and you have a nasty breakup, you put it up on my channel. I'm just kidding. We do men's dating advice, self-improvement type of thing. Yeah.
Cool. So, we're doing something a little bit different today. Not the average podcast. So, we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of speed dating, and I hope that men and everything can learn from Alex and how to like date and things like that. So why don't we go ahead and just hop right into this? And
we're going straight to the speed dating, huh? No warm up, no foreplay, straight to the sex.
straight to the speed dating. Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and Genevieve, you're gonna go first. So
okay.
Gotta remove you.
All right. What up, Genevieve?
Hi.
I like your name. It sounds like it's from like King Arthur or something like that.
Yeah, I love it too. I also go by Jenna.
Okay, cool. Were your parents like big fans of like medieval history or whatever? Or?
No, I was named after a great aunt who was named Elizabeth Genevieve.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You got your hoodie on. You got like the emo goth girl look.
It's not usually the scrunch if I'm being completely honest, but today that's what we're going for. But
yeah, you look like you're gonna hit up a grunge show like right after this.
I know. Yeah, are you on that scene a lot?
No, not at all. Like I'm the exact opposite. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. My ex used to be into that though. I remember when I was like 19, 20. She used to be all about that lifestyle. But yeah, not me.
Yeah, it's a bit. It was a spontaneous decision. I'm not sure if I regret it yet.
Spontaneous decision to wear the hoodie or spontaneous decision to come on here?
Oh, all of the above. But to dye my hair actually.
Oh, okay.
My hair is usually like blonde or like red-ish.
Well, what's your natural color?
Brown.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a light brown, but yeah.
When I was 22, I used to dye my hair blonde too. I used to be like a bleach blonde.
Yeah, it's a fun look. But
you're probably like right around that. Like, how old are you? You're like 21, 22?
I'm 19.
Okay. Oh, wow. You're super young. Damn, girl. And what do you do? You're in like college or something?
Yeah, I'm mechanical engineering. So it was funny. When Ezekiel stopped me, I was on the way to the lab to work on some 3D printing stuff. So
can you 3D print me something? Nice.
I could, yeah.
Oh, really? You can just 3D print anything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, essentially.
Wow, that's fascinating. Can you like 3D print a laptop?
We can print. So, well, in our lab, we can print plastic, anything plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So probably not. I mean, we can make a computer, but it wouldn't be functional or interesting.
Can you 3D print me a statue of myself?
Yeah, but somebody would have to design it, is the thing.
Well, you could just give me a little bit more hair, and then the rest of it
yeah,
should be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need some decorations. Spruce up my apartment a little bit. I'm gonna be moving soon, so I might need more decorations.
Yeah, but you do have a dog, and I'm very obsessed.
Yeah, you like huskies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a dog too, or?
I do, but it's at home.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where's home?
In LA, but it's where my parents live, so I don't tend to go there.
Oh, you don't get along with the parents?
Not right now, no.
Oh, damn. Was it like a big fight?
Yeah, family therapy went pretty rough lately. Yeah. Anyway.
Good. Okay.
I also missed a midterm, and that was, I don't know who told them, but I got back, and now they're pissed.
The parents weren't happy with little Genevieve skipping her midterms.
I know. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going all in. We're going grunge. We're going fucking emo.
Good. All you have to do is like start an OnlyFans now if you want to be a complete rebel.
I know, right? Exactly. That's, I mean, it's kind of like perfect that, I got stopped and asked if I was feeling spontaneous, because that's kind of what my life is right now.
Yeah, well, this is actually an audition for porn audition. Yeah, that's actually why they brought me on here. I'm a big time Miami porn director. I make the big decisions. My dog is
Nice.
my cameraman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Does he do a good job?
Yeah,
Is it
you
steady?
can get to all the places I can't get into.
Oh, yeah.
He's a
That
little,
makes sense.
he's a little bit more nimble than I am.
That's fair.
Yeah. But so you live in LA, or where do you live?
Yeah, I live in LA, on USC's campus.
Cool. I used to live around there. I used to live in Koreatown.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I lived there for a few years, and I lived in Santa Monica, Hollywood. I used to be all about LA.
Where are you now?
Miami.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I moved 2017. I moved out of LA.
What made you do that?
I got tired of it a little bit. There's certain things about LA that started to annoy me a little bit. But I initially moved to Texas because I wanted to live in more of like a small town. And then I got tired of Texas. So I was like, I can either go back to LA or go to Miami. So I decided to try Miami.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just try it out.
Yeah. Well, I've been here for 5 years. It's pretty cool. I like Miami.
That sounds fun.
All right.
All right.
There you go. So, Genevieve, hypothetically, if you two were both in LA, maybe Alex asked, "Are you feeling spontaneous today?" Would you go out on a date with him?
Yeah.
Oh.
What'd you like? Yeah, send the hearts to you there. What'd you like about Alex?
He asked good questions. Definitely really engaging. Made the conversation really easy and fun.
Awesome.
Plus, the husky helps.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, cool. So let's do another round, second round here. We have the lovely Unnati, and let's dive right in.
Cool. How do I say your name? Unnati?
No, most of the people pronounce it wrong. So it's Unnati, but
Unnati.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I let people call me Unity because it's like people are more used to that word. So I'm like, okay.
I'm guessing you're either like Indian or Pakistani, right?
I'm an Indian.
Okay, cool. What part of India are you from?
I'm from near Delhi. Have you been to India?
Okay, no, I've never been to India, but I have an Indian roommate, and I also read some books about India. So you're okay.
Right.
So you're from the northern part of India, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I heard you guys are
Yeah.
more more open. Like the northern Indians are more open-minded and free than the southern Indians are more conservative, right?
You're basically stereotyping the people based on their region. So it's basically you can find all kinds of people everywhere. So it's you cannot define who's very open-minded or not open-minded.
Well, where are the cool Indians at?
Definitely where we are.
Okay.
Not in part of India.
Okay. Are you using a green screen or do you have a super nice background? It looks like a green
No,
screen.
it's just a good background. It's a green screen. So I was just
Okay.
trying it on. It's fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say you look like you're in a mansion or something like that.
Yeah, right. I have a piano. You can see.
Yeah, the only
Yeah.
problem is every time you move it glitches, so then that's when the cover
Yeah,
so you just have to
exactly.
stay very still, and then and then you can keep your cover.
Right.
So, do you speak English, Hindi? Do you speak any other Indian languages?
I just speak Hindi, but yeah, that's it. I mean, a lot of other people speak a lot of other languages, but I just speak Hindi apart from English. So
You don't speak Urdu or something?
nothing.
Okay. I know they have
Yeah,
20 million languages in India.
exactly. It's hard to keep track. Yeah, so what about you? Where are you right now? And how did you?
I'm in Miami, but originally
Hmm.
I'm from Russia. I was born in Russia, moved to America when I was 7. But yeah, I've been living in Miami for 5 years now.
Okay. So like as you said, you lived in LA. So like, how come you come to US and from Russia and
Well, I mean, I was 7 years old, so I didn't really have much of a choice. You know, it was mostly my parents.
okay.
You know, they weren't really asking me, but I think it's for the cliche reason, like they both wanted a better life. I don't know, like
Yeah.
my dad was pretty successful, so maybe
Yeah.
he had. I think also he might have had some issues with the government. I suspect.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think they wanted to just get the fuck out of Belarus.
Okay. So like, is he like some kind of like top secret agent or something? So the government
No,
has
no,
like
no,
some.
no. Nothing that exciting. My dad was a businessman, but he made his money in like the early 90s. And
Yes.
typically what was happening at the time is like the people who were making money in the very early 90s, the government was
Yeah.
finding ways to take their money away, like with bullshit
Okay.
charges. So I think my dad was worried about having that happen to him.
Okay. That's a wise decision. So like, have you like ever visited back Russia or like
Yeah, I went
how's
back when
it?
I was 16. I had strep throat for like the whole trip. We
Yeah.
landed. They almost didn't let me. They almost didn't let me into the country because of some like passport issues. We had to bribe our way in, and then the next day I got strep throat, and I was like laying in my grandma's bed all day, all trip. So yeah, it wasn't the best experience, but yeah, I went back once.
Okay. Okay. So like, would you like to go back there again, or like, is this like, okay, I'm good.
Ah, fuck
Like,
it. It's cold. The people are sad. It's right now it's like a shitty time. Now I'm more
yeah.
interested in going to other places like Southeast Asia, exploring South America more.
Right, right. South America is also on my bucket list. So I'm like, yeah, when will I get the chance to go there?
I don't know. Well,
I'm
what do
just
you do?
waiting.
What do you have like some free time, or what do you do? Are you a student? Do you work?
Yeah, I'm a student right now. I mean, so like for the next 1 year, I'm busy. So like once I get a job and stuff, I'll be like a free bird. I can go wherever I want.
Oh, why don't you do like a study abroad program or something like that?
I'm already studying abroad, right?
Oh, oh, so you go to
Yeah.
India and then you like you did a study abroad program in LA?
No, it's basically like I'm an Indian, so like I moved to US to study here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that. I mean, not exactly a study abroad program, but like internationally studying. So yeah.
Okay. You're one of those international students.
Yes, right. Exactly.
I got you. Yeah, I did a study abroad program in New Zealand. It was a lot of fun. I was there for like 5 months when I
Yeah.
was back when I was in college, but that was a long time ago.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Boston University.
Oh, interesting. What did you major in?
I was a marketing major.
Oh, so like I'm all intrigued. How did you get into like what you're into right now?
What am I into right now?
Like maybe like making YouTube videos and like I don't know. I'm not really sure what you're into because it was not very clear.
How did I get into it? I kind of fell into it, honestly. I was in 2017, no, 2016. I was working a corporate job, and
Yeah,
I was in my free time. I was just posting stories about like my sex life and shit, my dating life,
yeah.
and then a lot of people seemed to enjoy those stories. So people kept joining my Facebook group, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
it was purely accidental.
That's nice. So like you must be having fun. Like corporate, how like did you like the corporate job more or like this is more fun?
No, I enjoyed this a lot more. Yeah, fuck the corporate world. I never want to do that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I used to be in corporate like a few years back, but like
Oh, damn.
All
yeah.
right.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt right there, but got a question for you.
Sure.
So, would you go on a second date with Alex?
Um, yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well,
I'll take
that was
it.
the end of, that was the end of that segment right there, the speed dating segment. And let's go into an open interview. And I kind of liked your question that you actually asked right there about, how Alex got into what he was doing. So, real quick, Alex, we can start with this. Like, so how did you start to develop your dating skills, and what were the holes in your game, you could say, that that took you to the next level in which you were more confident around women, things like that?
Are you asking me how did I start learning game, or how did I start playing with fire? Is there
Well,
two?
both. So we'll start with how'd you start playing with fire? And then, well, I think it's a combination of both, because in order to actually just give out the information, you have to have a good game, obviously. So
Yeah. Well, the playing, because I had no intention of ever starting like a pickup dating company when I got into game. Because I was just really bad with girls when I was growing up. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 19. Yeah, I was just like didn't really have good social skills or ability to date or whatnot. So one of my friends when I was 21 gave me the book The Game, and that's how I learned about the pickup community. And then I went balls deep pretty much right away. In terms of starting playing with fire, it's kind of what I was telling Unnati. Sorry if I just butchered your name again, but yeah, I was just I was working a corporate job. I've always enjoyed writing. It's something I've always been good at. So I just started sharing stories, like some of my hookup stories from Tinder and whatnot, in a Facebook group, and people kept joining my Facebook group, and some of those people would message me and be like, "Hey man, can you coach me?" So kind of all started with that, but I had no intention of like making a business out of it or something like that. It was purely just for fun in the early stages. And then the company I worked for I worked in the solar industry. But after Trump got elected, the solar industry crashed because all the investors pulled out. There's a lot of things people don't know, but the solar industry is very much relies on external financing. So if the investors pull out, like the companies have to do massive layoffs, and that's what happened to my company. They had to do massive layoffs. So me and like 1,000 other people lost their jobs overnight, basically. So I didn't really want to go back into the corporate world after that because I found that kind of depressing that I could lose my job through no fault of my own. So I had like 9 months of unemployment in California. So I decided to just run with playing with fire and see where I could go.
cool. And then for you girls, can you tell when a guy is very confident or when they have game, or like, that they have what it takes to date you and court you?
Yeah, I think for sure. I would call it charisma though. I'm not sure that I would call it confidence. I think there's a difference. I think confidence, you can have confidence without charisma, but charisma is like the ability to carry a conversation and like the way that people are drawn to talking to you and like engaging with you because you're interesting or because you're good at talking to people.
Okay. Well, like that, when you said charisma and confidence, like, then what's confidence then? Like, what would you say that confidence is?
Regardless of how good you are at talking to people, you will approach them and give it your all. I think, yeah, like giving it your all and going in without hesitation. Yeah.
Okay. So like charisma is like playfulness, whereas confidence is just your ability to go direct and do what needs to
Well,
be done.
charisma is not playfulness. It's just like ability to have a conversation or like ability to make that connection.
Okay. And then when it comes to like having a good frame, like being able to hold a conversation, Alex, like how did you start developing your frame? Because usually when you're trying to hold a conversation, there can be pockets of, silence, awkwardness, maybe sexual tension. Like, how do you manage your frame and how do you know where to guide the conversation?
Well, I think there are two separate things: frame control and ability to hold a convo. Your ability to hold a convo. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think of it like a muscle. Like like if you constantly are out being social and doing social shit, you're gonna be able to hold a convo. I worked in sales for like 5 years. I had to like make small talk with like 80-year-old grandpas. If I can bullshit with like some old dude for an hour, I can certainly bullshit with like someone who's like my age and female for 5 minutes. So yeah, I think it's just like a lot of it's just like practice, practice, practice. Also, like not like really judging yourself too much. Or I think a lot of guys are worried, like, oh fuck, what if I say the wrong thing? I don't really worry about that. I just kind of say whatever comes to my mind. It wasn't like I was like prepared. I was like, okay, let me think. Genevieve, oh fucking King Arthur. It's just like fucking the first thing that came to my mind. Like when Unnati told me she's Indian, I'm like, oh, cool. I'm actually like fascinated by Indian culture to some extent. So like, okay, cool. Well, let me like fucking ask her questions about India. So yeah, I think I kind of just like riff off the situation, what comes to my mind. I think too many guys, they like kind of like suppress they're because it's like when you're hanging out with your friends, you typically don't run out of things to say. It's only when you're talking to a girl that you run out of things to say. So the problem isn't that your brain can't come up with things to say. The problem is that you're shutting down that part of your brain by overanalyzing and overthinking.
Mm-hmm. So how much is your interaction with girls like logical, and then how much of it is like intuitive and like feeling out the vibe and riding with it?
It's like 99% intuitive. Yeah, it's like pretty much all intuitive. Yeah, I don't sit there and like think like logically, oh fuck, what am I gonna say next? What am I gonna say next? It's very similar to when I'm talking to like my friends. I'm not like, oh fuck, what am I gonna tell my buddy? It's just like, whatever comes to my mind. When I hang out with my friends, it's kind of the same thing. There's some differences because you're not trying to fuck your friends, so you want to add more sexual tension to the convo, and stuff like that. But I think it's a pretty good overlap. Maybe it's like a 70-80% overlap.
Okay. And then for your girls, like, what are some turnoffs? What are some turnoffs for you that guys do?
Not
Like
asking,
for me, okay, sure, you go ahead.
not asking questions.
For me, the biggest turnoff would be like asking questions but not listening to it like properly, and like not just listening like from the top of their heads. Yeah.
What does it feel like then? Like if a guy's not listening to you, what does it feel like? Does it feel like he's distant? Is it like
Feels like not worth my time.
No, but like, is it like something that when someone's not listening to you, does it feel like he's distant from you? Does it feel like does it look like he's not engaged in the conversation? Like, what does that look like?
It's like if he's not interested in what I'm saying, then like what's the point of me having a conversation with him? There's no point. Like there's no like if you can not have a decent conversation, what's there?
Okay. And then, so when it comes to now going to sexual market value and displaying yourself with sexual market value, like what is that first off, Alex? And then what are some things you can do to raise that?
Sexual market value is basically how attractive you are to the opposite sex. So, for guys, that will include things like your looks, your fitness, your status, potentially your money, depending on the girl. Like stuff like that. For a girl, that will primarily come down to looks. Again, it can vary, but yeah. So what you can do to improve it? Well, you can go get a really good haircut where they, line up your beard and line up your hair. That's an easy one. You can go to the gym and you can put on muscle. You can work on rising up in whatever hierarchy you're in. So, for example, I'm a YouTuber. So if I just become a top YouTuber, that will give me some status. But if you're like let's say you're like entrepreneur of some kind. Maybe you work in, drop shipping, just rising up through that, that will give you a little bit of status in that community. Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. That's like a very long, very short version of the story. I mean, I have videos on this where I break this down in extreme detail. But yeah, just improving on all the things that the opposite sex finds attractive, basically.
And then for your girls, like, what is something that makes you kind of turn your head and look at a guy? So maybe you're like walking around and you just have to like look at this guy for some reason. Like, what's something that makes you that'll make you turn your head and look at a guy?
Good hair, always.
Well, I'm out.
Well, like, what do you mean by good hair? Is it like a lot of product in it? Is it just like you like more of a natural look?
Not necessarily. It just like, as long as there's some thought put into it, that's usually it. If it's like, I do prefer a certain length. Like I prefer more length. But like just knowing that a guy can take care of his hair is like really attractive.
Well, what if he's like bald, but he takes good care of his bald head?
Then that's great.
Like he shines his bald head every night before he goes to bed.
Still, would it be? I'm not sure I would be very excited, but I would it wouldn't be a minus.
You'd like rub it for a good look every single morning.
The more I think about it, the less I'm interested, but
I think for me, it would be like some kind of body language or some attitude in the body language. Yeah.
So you pay attention to body language then. Is that something that's very
Yeah.
important for you?
Yeah.
What's a good body language for you?
I mean, like, have some kind of attitude in it, like knows what they're doing.
So like they're
I mean, it's
intentional
just
about
like a gut instinct. It's kind of like a gut instinct. You see a person and you're like, okay, this is interesting. Yeah.
Well, Alex, like what's a good body language, like from you coach guys on this kind of stuff too, like what's good body language and good posture?
Like good body language is when you're taking up space, right? You're not like this. You're kind of like taking up space. You're relaxed. Yeah, you're kind of chill. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Actually, it's not actually super complex. It's just about like, are you scrounging and like leaning forward, or are you relaxed, taking up space? Yeah, like this would be good body language right here. This would be bad body language.
so I'm the example of bad body language.
Well, you got that hoodie wearing you down, so that gives you a little bit of an excuse.
And then, but does that help like your nervous system open up, or like what's the point of like having correct body posture and things like that?
They've done some studies and they show that when you like kind of like stand up and you're like open up your body language, your testosterone goes up by 20% or something like that. For the short term. So I think there's some like pharmacological benefits, but also you just look more confident, more at ease. Yeah, things more attractive in general.
Okay. And then, so I emailed you, Alex, and I mentioned how having good frame has to do with spirituality in the sense of like when you hold yourself together, it shows that your mind is coherent and it's like in harmony with itself. So I want to tie this into spirituality because I think it's very important to be present to the moment and also to be able to read the vibes and frequencies that the girl is giving off or that whoever in general is giving off.
What does that have to do with spirituality though? I feel like that's just like good social skills. I thought spirituality, correct me if I'm wrong, was like believing in something more after death, whatever. Like maybe not organized religion, but you believe in like the power of the universe or something like that.
Yeah, because the starting point when I mentioned spirituality is awareness. So by being aware, like that's the baseline for everybody. You're aware. Everybody has awareness inside of them. And so when you talk about spirituality, you're talking about being able to fall into that awareness and being able to read energy just in general. So then that goes into more specifically like energy points in your body. You can get into like stuff like how your body holds your subconscious mind and things like that. And so when we tend to like feel each other out or like read vibes and frequencies, you're pointing your attention towards somebody and you're feeling out the energy like that. An example of this would be like my sister, for example. She's very intuitive, and so she can sense from like a distance, like, oh, something's wrong with Ezekiel, like, and it's just a thought that comes to her head. And so it's being able to know that we're all connected and be able to sense like things like that without thought, it's just connecting to that inner knowing. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. To me, that sounds more like intuition, but yeah, if you want to tie that into spirituality, I guess.
Okay. Maybe then I use the wrong term then. We'll just use the term like being intuitive.
Okay.
Okay. So, but like, how have you developed your sensitivity and your intuition when reading people over time and things like that?
Honestly, just a lot of practice. Like the more you practice something, the better you get at it. And then if you can evaluate the situation, give yourself feedback. So like I'm constantly videotaping myself because I'm on YouTube or whatever when I do debates, whatever, all this stuff. I'll watch back my own shit, and then I can like analyze my, my performance, and I'll have people who I trust to analyze it and get their feedback. So yeah, I think that's like, the fastest way to get better at this kind of stuff.
So how do you become more socially calibrated? Like how do you figure out the wants and needs of somebody else? And, because some people will like kind of hint at it and not necessarily say what they want and things like that. So how do you begin to dig deep?
Well, yeah. When I for example, when I worked in sales, I had to figure out the wants and needs of my customer, even when they didn't communicate. If I want to get the sale, before, when I was doing more cold approach before the sales job, I need to figure out the wants and needs of the girl I'm talking to if I want to go home with her. So it was always in my best interest to figure out the wants and needs of that person. So thus, I was always motivated to kind of develop that intuition.
Okay.
But specifically how I developed it is just, again, just lots and lots and lots and lots of practice, honestly. I mean, your brain has like pattern recognition. If you've seen the same situation 100 times or 1,000 times, you're going to kind of know what to do. Versus if you've never seen that situation, you might have no idea what to do.
Mm-hmm. And for your girls, like, how are you able to use intuition to help make better dating decisions or make decisions in dating, things like that?
Can you repeat that?
So like, how have you used intuition to make dating decisions and choose someone that feels right for you?
So like intuition, I feel like comes like, I think it's kind of more like a gut feeling, right? If you feel right with a person, if they goes like, you just kind of know, like gut feeling is more like, okay, yeah, this is fun. I can go around with this person. And like more than intuition, for most of us, it depends on the mood as well. Like, are you feeling like fun right now? Are you feeling like, what do you want to do? Like, is this like a one night stand you want to have, or like, is it like, so you kind of like judge the person on the basis of that, and then you take an action.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then going into like online like text game and things like that, like how did you start to calibrate yourself to where, Alex, like how did you start to calibrate your text game to where it's moving in the right direction and it's slowly you start interaction maybe with a comment, and how do you lead it to where the girl feels comfortable enough to want to go out with you based off of scratch? Like from maybe it's a random a girl from Instagram and she's like a random person you don't know. Like how do you take that from scratch and then build something? Yeah.
Well, it's no different than like getting better at cold approach or learning people with sales. I mean, you practice over and over, a lot of trial and error. You look at other people who are having success and try to learn off their successes. But like you eventually get to a point where you can kind of gauge a situation pretty accurately most of the time. So you're like, oh, this chick is not responding. Here's probably why. This is what I need to do to turn this around. Yeah, I would say like something like that.
Okay. And then for your girls, like what's some of the best text game that you've seen a guy do?
It definitely has to be a little bit like you have to stand out. So, obviously it has to be something interesting that's, not very basic. I want like your personality to show through the text, especially because I can't like see you. And so I want to know like, what kind of quirks do you have? Yeah, and I want the conversation to be, you know, interesting, engaging. And again, like I don't want to hear what everyone else says, like the same thing that everyone else says. I want to hear like what's special about you.
And what are some like common things that guys say to you that's like repetitive or robotic?
I recently had a guy text that is attractive with a period at the end. that's like, like for that, it's like the tone's a little bit off, the like, it's not exactly interesting, it's not well written, it's not, a lot of things. I don't want to answer how was your day like a million times, or like, what are you doing? Or like, I think there are better conversation topics and also better ways to phrase it than like, the basics.
Okay. And then when it comes to like opening a girl, Alex, how do you develop a good opener?
Are we talking about like cold approach or how or where?
Both cold approach and texting.
Well, for cold approach, I don't like really have like default openers. I just go with whatever comes to my mind when I see the girl. I think that's probably the best way to go. With Tinder, yeah, I'll either riff off something I see in her photos, or I'll just do like a stock opener, like "Hey Trouble" or something like that.
Classic one. And then, so what's inner game and then what's outer game?
Inner game is your attitudes, beliefs, your confidence, your charisma, all of that. Outer game is like the things that you do. So, like, do you invite her to the bar, invite her straight over? Do you go for the kiss right away, or do you wait half an hour? Do you use pickup lines, or do you naturally free flow? That's outer game. Inner game is like what's going on in your mind, and your attitudes and beliefs. Yeah.
And what were some like inner game issues that you had to work through and that opened up the door for you to have more success with women?
Oh man. When I was really younger, when I was like 18, 19, I had like low self-esteem. Um, a lot of that was just because I didn't think I was worthy of women. And I didn't think the opposite sex found me attractive. So as I started seeing more success, a lot of that went away by default. Um, yeah, I'd have to kind of like think on that because it's been so long. It's been like over a decade.
And then, so you didn't have to, so you just took massive action. You didn't even think about your beliefs or anything, or like trying to maybe do affirmation, things like that. You just took action and failed over and over again until you started
Well, I
seeing
think it was
results.
like I had limiting beliefs, and when I got experiences that contradicted those negative beliefs, they went away. Like I don't know, one of the limiting beliefs I had was that you can't have sex with a girl right after meeting her, right? You have to take her on a few dates, blah blah blah. And then when I had a series of experiences where I fucked a chick within like 20 minutes of meeting, then like that limiting belief started to go away. So yeah, you kind of if you get experiences that contradict your limiting beliefs, then I think they start to kind of go away in your mind.
Okay. And then in terms of like now, like determining like outer game and things like that, knowing what places to go and things like that, how did you start to uh, think of places to lead a girl? For example, like how do you start to figure out logistics? How do you start to put things together in that sense on the outer game side?
Well, logistics is not that hard. I mean, you just invite the girl back to your place. I mean, there's really not that many options. But external game, I mean, some of it was through trial and error. Some of it was from like learning from other sources, like R.D. Julian, Revolutionary Lifestyle Design. I mean, the place that I've always given credit where credit is due. So yeah, it was a combination of trial and error and learning from others.
Okay. And for your girls, like how often do you get approached, by the way?
In real life or
Yeah.
via never.
Never. Okay. And how about you?
You're asking how often do I get approached?
Yeah, about guys.
Okay, like since I am a master's student right now, everyone around me is like really focused on what they're doing. But like in bachelor's, yeah, like quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you girls have any questions for Alex?
You can ask my dog questions if you want.
What's his name?
Rhaegar.
House of Did you watch The House of Dragons?
Of course. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Game of Thrones, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I just finished watching it, so yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Good season.
Good season, but yeah, like not at the mark.
It's not quite as good as Game of Thrones season 1 through 4,
Right.
but it's not as bad as season 8.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up here.
Sure.
But thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.